I told Bobby I was in hair and makeup, but we don't actually have it.
Yeah, we don't.
You guys need to fix me up and make me look pretty.
My name is Dave Lynn. I'm the co-founder of Cycle for Survival. This will be my 20th year riding. Cycle for Survival started in 2007 in one small cycling studio with a couple hundred friends there. All of them riding to show their support for my wife, Jen. No matter what she was going through, the toughest chemotherapy, 6 major surgeries, she'd always get up for her 7 a.m. indoor cycling class at Equinox. Cycle for Survival is in many ways her personality and spirit coming to life, because the hope and the energy that you feel in that room, that's exactly the way she was almost every day. So the very first year, I actually found one of Jen's old emails. Our goal was to raise $10,000. We crushed that and raised over $200,000. And then the following year, we raised over $600,000. At that point, we knew this could be really big. So we went to MSK and we went to Equinox, and Cycle for Survival became supercharged. But unfortunately, Jen died on July 20th, 2011. I didn't know what would happen to me, and I didn't know what would happen to Cycle for Survival. One of the unique things about Jen was she didn't want this to be Jen's Cycle for Survival. She wanted it to be so much bigger than us. But would we lose momentum? Would Cycle for Survival die out without Jen here? What actually happened was pretty incredible. The year after Jen died, I was riding next to somebody, and they asked me what was my connection to the cause. And I said, oh, well, my wife and I started it. And they looked at me not very impressed. They said, oh, that's great. My wife and I started our team as well. And I was taken aback for a second, but a second later I realized how incredible is that? Who cares who the founder is? All of us are founders of our teams, and that's what's enabled it to become this movement that can't be stopped. I believe, as many people who've been touched by cancer believe, that community improves outcomes. Community raises the spirits of cancer patients when they're struggling, when they're going through these treatments that are in many cases still far too toxic. A friend of mine who's a cancer patient, she told me the other day that Cycle for Survival was the very first time since her diagnosis that she didn't feel alone. Because she walked into Equinox, and she had thousands of people together there with her. This incredibly powerful community is made up of people from all walks of life. We've got young people, we've got older people, we've got doctors riding together with their patients, riding together with nurses. We have a number of people, we call them the Decade Riders, who've been there since the early days, and some of them have been there since the very first ride. Cycle for Survival provides a way to show our love and to fight back, and to do everything we can to help the millions of cancer patients. Let's go! When I walk into Cycle for Survival, even 20 years later, I'll feel a little bit of nostalgia and sadness thinking about Jen. Then a minute later, I'll feel hope and excitement and inspiration because there'll be a cancer survivor who's telling their story about how they beat cancer. And then there'll be a doctor telling about the progress that Cycle for Survival is making possible, so that fills me with pride.
Thank you!
If Jen walked into Cycle for Survival today, I'd like to think she'd be blown away because we've raised over $400 million. She'd probably also say, we need to get to $1 billion, we need to do more. We can't stop until every story at Cycle for Survival is a happy story of people getting more time, more decades with their friends and family.